Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha Bean of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Everybody, welcome to Creators to Creators today. Today we have a special guest,
Hey, this is Spendit from Buffalo, New York.
New York. All right. Um, I always love going back to the beginning. Every guest that I talk to, I think the beginning always kind of charts our trajectory and where we're kind of going in life, our little habits. So tell me a little bit about your childhood. Like, what was that like growing up? And kind of how did you find your way into music?
Oh, my childhood, it was my bad. I had a long night. I had a long night. I had a lot.
It's okay.
uh,
The
I
life
was
of a
thinking to myself
musician.
when I had scheduled, I was thinking to myself, man, why didn't you do 12 o'clock or 11 or something? 10:30 really? But growing up. Growing up, I was really not into music like that at the time. Like I really wasn't. I was more of an athlete. Like I was just me at the time. But my brother still did music. My brother, which is who's my manager now, he still did music. And so when I was growing up, I never really was into music, but I was always around it. Whether I came from school, whether I was just sitting in the living room, he was always making beats. He was always making music. He was always doing anything music related, and so I was always around it. And so, eventually it started catching on, and so
Mm,
it started catching on, and I'm grateful for that because it made it so much easier when I actually started to make my own music. Like, because I have heard it, I've seen him do it so many times. It was like, okay, wow, I could do this too because of him.
right. I love that. I love that when it's like that's kind of the same as myself. My brother was very much someone that kind of influenced me to get into film. So kudos to brothers. Um, that's really cool. Like, what kind of gave you the confidence though? Like, I think that's a brave move to make. I mean, obviously you believe in yourself to pursue the music world, but when did you start taking it seriously for yourself?
um, with the confidence, it was I always used to when I did start to get into music, I always freestyle. I'm not gonna
Nice.
sit here and say like it was the best freestyle in the world, but it was okay. And
Yeah,
my friends were like, "Yo, this is actually pretty good. Like, you might be onto something, but they are friends though. They're not
right.
really gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, bro, this ain't that." So they could have just been hyping me on. But where I got my confidence from was when I had written my first track.
Hmm.
Um, my brother was like, "Man, I can't give you any of my beats right now. Like, so you're gonna have to go on YouTube, scrape something up, and write something, and so I could hear it before I
Hmm.
give you the okay." I'm like, "Okay, here goes my drive with everything in it. Boom, you do what you do." You
Right.
know. So I go on YouTube. I find this little beat. I write on it. It probably took me 2 3 days. It wasn't nothing crazy. It took me like 2 3 days. I go down in the studio. I go down in the studio because now he lives in North Carolina.
Okay.
Before he had moved out, he left everything here because
Nice.
he just planned on upgrading his studio once he got down there. So he was like, "Yo, I'm just leaving this here." He comes back here and there to use it, but it was mostly mine at that point.
Yeah.
So I go down in the studio and I record and I send it to him. He's like, "Oh shit." Like, you wrote this in 2 3 days? I said, yeah. It was like, are you serious? Isn't like you didn't take it from anybody else. You didn't do this. You just wrote it. I said, yes. Like, dude, here goes the notes.
Love
He's
that.
like, he's like, oh, he sent me his email, which contains about almost 5,000 beats in there.
Whoa.
So by then, I never went to a YouTube beat again because he was like, "All right, here you go. You got the okay to go." And so he believed in it so much. He believed in it so much that I was like, "Ah, man, if he believed in me, then I could do it." And that's how it came about.
That's awesome.
Like
I
that's
love
then where I got
that.
my confidence from.
I love that. Well, so tell me about the new EP, Hold Up. Tell me about the process. Walk me through that. I really dig it. It's really, really good. But I wonder, how did you come up with the idea?
It's a funny one. It's funny now that I look back at it because that was actually after I had wrote that little song that he wanted me to write to see if I was really gonna do something.
Yeah.
We had this is probably like 2 years ago. This is 2 years ago because the EP has been written a whole year before it was released.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Because me and him had to discuss like, is this really what we wanted to do? Like,
Hmm.
hey, do you really want to do this? Because like he been in this for so long that he knows like, hey, it takes time, it takes money. Like
Yeah.
it's not something that you just want to jump into and say, all right, let's do this. It's something that you really have to plan, because I
Yeah.
don't know. A lot of people don't understand that when they get into music, and so I'm grateful for him because like, I didn't know the half. I'm not gonna lie, didn't know either. Like there's so much things that go behind everybody sees the final product, but everything
Right.
that goes before that is insane. And it's like, damn, without him, I don't even think I'd have been able to release such quality music if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And
and
so with
and
this
you're right.
and so with this EP, how it came about, so a year before it dropped, I had everything probably took me about 4 6 months
Okay.
to write. And now we've written 15 songs, roughly around 15, 16 songs. We wanted to narrow down to what is the like we wanted to pick quality over quantity.
Right.
And so, we wanted something we're gonna look back at and be like, yo, this was our first release. Wow, that's hard. And so we narrowed like within like 2 months, we just sat and listened with our producer as well. Like we sat and listened, was like, all right, we gotta pick 6 tracks to like really like out of these 16s, we gotta pick like 12. And so
Hmm.
we 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 sat and listened and we picked and then it came about. But the song Hold Up itself, that's different. Like when I had read that was actually the first song to get mixed and mastered. So that was the first song that I've written.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
that I've written and recorded like studio wise that got mixed and mastered later on. And so
Nice.
that song is special to me because I don't even know how I pull that off, but I describe it like this. I've written 3 times to that beat. When I got it, I written 3 times to it. The first time was this song. It kind of sounds like Hold Up, but it wasn't. The second time was Hold Up itself, and I didn't like it. I didn't feel like it did the beat justice. I was like,
Hmm.
man, I feel like I should go harder. Like, so let me push that to the side. Boom, that was the second song. And then the third song, it was good, but I listened to it. It was probably one of my favorites too on that beat. And that was probably what was gonna be released instead of Hold Up.
Hmm.
But I just 2 weeks I listened to it and I said, nah, I don't think this is it either. So I go back to the first one. I'm like, this is still not it. Hold Up. I said, man, I don't know what I was thinking on like even writing another song after this, but this is it. So we put a couple of minor tweaks in there, like we switched a couple of words around. We did this, we did that, and it was like, okay, this is it. And so that's how it came about.
Love that. I love that. So you're pretty involved in the process of I love that you write and that you put it together. What inspires you to keep making music?
With that was after we had selected the six songs that was going to represent the EP,
Hmm.
and with how Hold Up came about, and with Grace being the first single that came out, or my first single that came out. I've got a lot of criticism, like a lot of good criticism. Like, I didn't expect it because honestly, when I was in the studio, man, I wasn't thinking about anybody else. I was like, how can I, how can I like really like make them feel me? Like that's
Right.
that's that's the mindset that I had when I went in there. I was like, how can I make them feel me? Like, and so and I guess it worked.
No, it did. Great
Yeah,
job.
because the criticism that I got, man, it was like, people reached out. We've gotten emails. We've gotten this. We're like, yo, we like to play your song on the radio. We like to do this. We like to do that. If you're interested, call us. And it was like, oh man, people really are feeling this.
Yeah.
And with Grace, this was before even Hold Up had dropped. With Grace, with Grace, there's this town called Syracuse that's like 2 hours away from us,
Hmm.
and I've gone about 20,000 plays on Apple Music from there
Nice.
itself.
Nice.
This was before Hold Up came out. Like from Syracuse itself, like Buffalo did like 4,000, but that town down there, oh my god! I said, dude, I was surprised. I was surprised. Like I couldn't even believe it. Like I had to just keep checking the stats. I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like it was insane how much love that song got. And I just had did a show there. And so yeah, it was a lot of love, man. That's what really kept me going. That was before even Hold Up came out. Once Hold Up came out, it really changed everything else. Like it was like, oh, so it wasn't just a fluke, the first song, because like
Yeah,
he got it like that. Yeah, so that's really what kept me going.
I love that. I love that. So I have a fun question for you. Uh, if you could be managed by any artist, right, living or dead, who would it be and why?
I I'm gonna go with the I'm not gonna say my favorite on who, but I like to take it business wise. I'll probably say Drake.
Hey, that's a good one. That's a good
I'll
one.
probably have to say Drake, but if I had to be like, oh, my favorite, like on who I really would want is Kanye West. But if I
Mm,
go business wise, I have to go Drake. The longevity, how long he's been doing this, like him him transitioning over from TV to music itself, and
hmm.
then Lil Wayne finding him, and then him just taking off and never looking back. It was like I didn't even start listening to Drake until like I was older. Like I was like 16, 17. That's when I really started listening to Drake. Cause like at the time I never really related to anything that he was pushing out. At the time, I was more of a Kanye West fan because like I could really relate to Kanye, the swagger, the confidence. Like, it was just like, man, this man is like he's him,
Yeah.
But like, but Drake's longevity, like, dude, I could probably listen to that man talk all day. Like with his interviews, I probably watch him
Yeah.
24/7. Like I could listen to him talk all day because like people take that for granted. Like for you to be doing music for that
Yeah.
long and still be on top of the game, it makes no sense. We don't see that anymore. And people are like, and now we're so spoiled because he's like, oh, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like if he were to drop everything right now and walk off, even though he's still on top of his game, people will probably start to realize like, wow, he was really like he's probably one of the greatest that ever did it. But we take it for granted because he's still around. And so
Yeah.
I've loved to be under him and just take everything in because that's just greatness.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great answer. And yeah, I agree with you for sure. Drake is a fantastic artist and, businessman for sure. I feel like I think a lot of times I think you said earlier, it's you didn't realize how hard it was as far as like the music and the money that it goes into and the things that go into develop, being an artist. Do you feel like it's harder or easier with now that we have AI and like TikTok to get noticed?
I still feel yes and no,
Hmm.
because you still have to release quality songs. Like
Right.
that's not easy. Like and I've seen a lot of interview where rappers will sit and tell you like, oh, it's easy to make a number one hit song. Well, you only got one, man, and you've been out for like 7 years. So
Yeah.
like you saying that it's easy is like it's not like even having a song where multiple people could really sit down and like listen to it. It's like it's really hard. Like if you don't take the time and if you don't take the time, if you don't practice, if you don't, it's real hard. Even though the social media's out there to help you, like it's real hard still. It's hard as an artist.
Yeah.
And and that's why we do it, because it's like for those who could do it, it's like kudos to them because it's like it's real hard. I don't think the average person could go in the studio and make a song that's like, all right, you could play this on the radio and multiple people gonna love it. It's real hard to
Yeah.
do. It's
Yeah.
real
And
hard to
I can't imagine, like, because you're competing against so many people. I mean, it's so saturated. Also, when you're on the charts as well, like you're competing against like very seasoned artists who've been around for a long time. So it's like, what do it's, really putting yourself out there and just hope, hoping that people will really gravitate to what you're saying and, like the whole package, right? It's like, it's when I think about how Jay-Z would go into the booth and just like Like it just comes to him, just like that's crazy. Like it's not normal.
Some people got it like that though, you know.
Yeah, I guess
Some
so.
few people got it like that. I think my brother think I got it like that. I'm not gonna lie, like
I love it.
because our new EP that I'm working on, like he's like, dude, you like, yo, you're going crazy right now. Like he's sometimes he'll call me at like 1 o'clock at night and be like, dude, because like I send him snippets like, hey, this is what I'm
Yeah.
working on right now. These are the lyrics, is if you want to go over them. And he's just sitting there and he's thinking to himself like, dude, you about to like, you're like right now, you're like a shooting star that's getting ready to like burn out. And I'm thinking in my head, like, yo, honestly, like I feel like I haven't even scratched like what I could do. Like I'm just now starting to implement so many things into my
Mhm.
game that it's like I could do this shit forever, you know?
I love
Like,
that.
but he's like, man, you gotta slow down. Like, yo, every single song that you make is crazy. Like, you gotta like slow down. I'm like, nah, man. Like, so he think I go in there and do it like that. But man, I really, when I do have my breaks, I really do sit down and like write. I don't try to freestyle anymore as much as I used to. I really sit down and write. And like I've probably written over so many songs now, and so I really can't wait to share what I got coming next, man. Like I've really like, and I could shown how much that I've grown. Like the Check EP, for sure, it was a good EP. I believe it
Yeah.
was a good EP, and the
Yeah.
stats showed it was a good EP. But I feel like I could do 100 times better.
I
Like
love that. I love that you said that, like the versatility, because you said, it's cool to freestyle, but like I was just gonna ask you on your on Check, right, features a lot of different sounds and flows. Like I was wondering, like, how did you approach experimenting with different styles and what motivates you to be versatile and different versus
oh,
freestyle?
yeah, with that, it was the notion of, hey, we trying to get as many people to rock with you as possible. So if we're gonna
Gotcha.
release an EP, we need them to show, like, we need to have different tastes. Like we need them to show that you're not just gonna do this, that you can do this, you can do that as well. We just want to release
Right.
out different flavors. Like somebody might not be feeling this, somebody might be feeling that. Like I have a song that I have a song that I really didn't like in the EP, and one of my friends, when he heard it, he said, "Yo, this is the best song on the EP." And I was so surprised. I'm like, "Dude, are you serious?" He's like, "Man, what? You need to send me this right now." And I'm like, as long as you don't release it yourself, man, I'll
Right.
send it to you. But like, it was one of those songs, and it's probably one of my brother's favorite songs too. But with me,
Okay.
how it came off, it was like, man, I'm not really feeling it. But I think it's one of my best lyrical songs. But in the EP, I believe so. But it didn't sit right with me. But my brother and my friend, man, they loved it. A bunch of other people loved it. Because I could see the stats on Apple Music now. A bunch of other people liked it, and I'm like, oh
Nice.
man, I didn't know. And so like, releasing like different sounds, it was like that was just to grab more people. That was just to grab way more people like than I would if I'd have just released like an EP that stated to one thing. And so that was the theory behind it.
I love that. No, that's great. I was going to ask you what you have a favorite moment, like whether you're performing live or something that one of your favorite, like
Uh,
something that stands out to you in your career.
yes, I do. I do. One of my girlfriends, she she had shared my songs to one of her friends or whatever, and I was at this party. Well, I was going to this party, and when we got to the party, I went when I was walking up with my friends, and when I was like when we got to the place, it was somebody sitting in their car. I believe it was one of her girlfriends, I believe, or one of her friends. I don't remember who it was because I don't know them personally, but I believe she
Hmm.
does.
Hmm.
And so when I was walking to the party, I could hear one of my songs, "Problems" in the back. One of my friends was like, "Yo, bro, I think there's Problems playing in the car." I'm like, oh, shit, that's hard. And so all I heard was like, "If I told you what problems you sit down and listen." I said, "Oh wow, that's like, seeing other people listen to your music, man. It's just, I was like, I
Crazy,
feel like that
huh?
was one of the highlight of the EP. It was like, oh wow, people really are tuning in. That's crazy. I love it.
That's that's
That's one
uh
of my favorite moments.
that's so great. I love those moments when that's kind of like how God like sends you signs of like, you're on the right track. Like it's like, oh man, like people are really digging it because you don't really realize, who's watching, who's listening to your music And
at
so,
all.
yeah, it's
Like, man,
crazy.
it's a roller coaster ride. It's because I did get a lot of bad criticism, but it wasn't nothing like that. I couldn't like, hey, implement this on your next EP. You know, that's what
Exactly.
it was. Like, I didn't get no criticism. Isn't like, dude, why did you put this on the EP? It was more like, all right, I you could have done this, and I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
that's a solid point. You know, this my first EP, so it ain't gonna be perfect.
Yeah,
I want it to
exactly.
be perfect, but
Yeah,
you know, that's what we strive for. So.
exactly. And I feel like that is a part of the growth of anybody, like any artist, right? Whether you're a singer, songwriter, whatever, filmmaker. I think as long as you're improving and trying to strive to be better, I mean, that's all you can do.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest that's one of like my biggest factors is in like how I want to be as an artist.
Yeah.
I want my next project, my next single to be my best.
Yeah.
Like I can't go backwards and life only moves forward, so I will too. You know.
Exactly.
So
Love
what I did in 2023 is not the same thing that I'm gonna do in 2024. You know what I'm saying? So like
absolutely.
you gotta grow as an artist. You gotta and so that's what I really strive on. So
Yeah, I love that. So there's a bunch of people listen to this podcast, and I love asking this question. Um, you know, advice to artists or people who are trying to get in the industry. What advice would you give to them?
for what advice? I'm a really keep it honest. What advice? First of all, get a job. This is not cheap. This ain't cheap. Get a job, like get some type of income, like something, cause like it could hold you back. Like you not having any money, it could hold you back. And like, yes, there's artists that did it without it, but in this with so much competition, you know, you gotta be able to like be up on the next artist. Like, you know, you have to like it's not it's like a kill or be killed kind of thing. Like if you're
Mm,
not doing something, just know another artist is doing it.
hmm. That's
And if
true.
the art and if you could like, okay, let's say you could switch your producers because you want to sound more quality, like do that because another artist isn't trying to do that. They're not trying to pay the money to do it, or they don't want to do it. But like if you yourself, you could separate yourself just from that itself. Like, hey, hear the quality of his songs, and then hear the quality of this guy, you know? And so that's really what it is. It's so competitive. And so you need like just get a job, something that could support your music. Like you don't even need nothing crazy, even part time. Just get a job. Me, I'm fortunate that I'm doing shows now,
Hmm.
and so in my music and with my streams now, I'm getting money too as well.
Hmm.
So you know, I'm able to like handle my bills. I'm able to do this. But before like a year and a half ago, I was absolutely at work.
Right.
I was at work, and like my music videos weren't cheap. My
Hmm.
my mixing mastering wasn't cheap. Like it's not a game. Like this is like it's treated like war. Like you really gotta be up. You really
Right.
gotta be up in order for you to like really set yourself apart. And that's what it's all about, setting yourself apart. And you know, and I'm glad that I had the people around me to do it. Also, get a solid circle, like people that you could really trust and people you could count on, people that will come to the studio and tell you if this is good or bad. Like you don't want this is good, this is good, this is good. As an artist, you can't be that nice. I'm
Right.
sorry. I'm sorry, you can't be that nice. Like there's no way, you know. And so, because if it was all that nice, I'm pretty sure it'd be more artists out there that have made it.
Right.
And
That's very
so,
true.
and I feel like a lot of artists are held back because of their circle. You know, you got yes man instead of like, yo, we need to go back in the studio and rewrite this. Like, we gotta like be able to like do something else because this is not it right now.
I
You
love
know,
that.
and I've listened to songs where like songs could have been better, but their group probably told them like, yeah, this is quality to like release it right now. Like I'm like
Mm,
no, like when they should have run back. So your circle, get a job, some type of income. Also another thing that I will say is you gotta have confidence in what you do.
hmm.
You when you in the studio, man, you gotta like if your voice could dictate whether you know people really want to listen to it or not, like the energy that you give out.
That's true.
Uh, to put an example, people don't know this, but I was sick when I recorded the final version of Hold Up. I was sick.
Oh, wow.
but I was yelling into I couldn't like even like I was talking like this yelling. Like I was like I could barely get my voice out there, but like the song had to be done and I really needed to get it done. And so I was sick. But when I went in there, I was like, and this song had to be filled with energy. So I had no choice. I couldn't go in the studio and be like, spend it, what's up, hold up, answer for us. And I was sick. Like that's really how the
Right.
song would have came out if I'd have just did that. Like that's probably what it came out, but I couldn't do that.
Right.
And so I was sick and I was yelling over the mic, like life moving too fast. Can't like, I was really trying my best to sound normal and that's one of the reasons why the song came out as it is. Like you got to put that and you have to put that confidence and energy into it. Like you got to feel yourself before other people can feel you.
That's true.
if you're not going in your
100%.
car if you're not going in your car and you like, yo, this is it, like nobody else is gonna do it, bro. Like you gotta be able to do that to yourself before other people do it.
100%.
So that's what I give to them. And also to find a good producer, somebody, a good mix and mastering, man. Like that could go a long way as well. Don't be cheap about it. Like if he's quality, spend that money because it's gonna come back in the long run. Like with Hold Up and Grace, I got so many like not even about the song, just yo, this is quality. Like I love it. I'm like, thank you, because I spent some money on it. So I'd hope, so I'd hope. So
Right.
that's what I give upcoming artists. Is also another thing too. One more thing. Do not listen to what these old rappers are saying. Like, this is old, out with the old, in with the new. Just when they tell you like, hey, I don't the music business isn't this, the music business isn't that. They're just scared that when you come up, nobody's gonna keep listening to them, because that's how they stay
Mm,
top. And so man, you only live once.
that's
If you
true.
really love music and you listen to old rappers tell you like, "Hey, I don't think the music business is for you," then I don't know what to tell you. Like it is for you. Go and take it.
Yeah,
Go and take it. Like that's what we're doing it for. They had their time. They had their run. If they're still around when we come up, cool. If they not, because we came up, cool. That's just what it is. And whoever's on top of the game is whoever gets to stay there.
I love that.
So so that's the last thing I give them. But other than that, I don't know. They just gonna have to like do what they do.
Yeah. I love that. You got to go and take it. I love that. That's so true. I this is so there's no this question is one of my favorite questions to ask, and there's no wrong answer. But the three levels of influence: money, power, and respect. If you could choose one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
If I could choose one of those three things: money, respect.
Or
You
power?
said money, respect, and power.
Hmm.
With my confidence, I really want to say power. Because with my confidence, I want to say power. But if I'm down to earth, respect. Respect could get you a long way.
Hmm.
Respect could get you a long, long way. Like I feel like that's valued over the other three things. With respect, you could get those other two.
Okay, I like that.
Power, you could have power and not be respected.
That's
You
true.
could have money and not be respected, but
Yeah.
you could have power. And you know what? Power, you could have money but not be respected. But you can't have. It's hard to have power and be respected, and it's hard to have money and be respected. So respect, it's probably the one for me because you could have respect, get money, and you could have respect and have power. And so
Mm,
that's the one for me. If
I love.
I'm humbly speaking, but if I wasn't humbly speaking, it's power,
He's like power.
But yeah, respect will take you a long way, man. And that's
Definitely.
why it would. And I kind of connect respect with like communication wise. Like if you get in a booth with an artist and like they really and you show them what you're about, and that's respect right there. Like, the next time they could be like, yo, I'm not even gonna charge you for it, like, cause I know you're really gonna come here and do what you do. Like, that's different. And
Hmm.
so in respect with me, I feel like even respect with me got me a long way because now I literally have like I showed up to like with you. I'm sorry that I had to reschedule two times, but oh my
No, it's
god, I was
okay.
so
It's
busy.
okay.
I was so busy. Like, oh my god, you don't understand. Like, I was so busy. But with everybody that I had talked to before, or with radio wise, like with podcasting and radio wise, they was like, oh man, whenever you release your next EP, yo, here's go. I'm gonna email you my number. Call me when you will call me, and we could talk about when you want to get back on. Like, that's
Definitely.
respect. That's respect. Because when I showed up, I really told him like what it was and what it wasn't. Like I told him like, hey, this is what I did. This like ain't no faking it with me. You gonna get me, and that's that. And I feel like that's respect because like I think it's like more than five now that I have. Like in my email is just full of numbers and like, hey, whatever. If you ever want to come back, we're more than glad to have you. And I'm like, wow, thank you so much. That
I
means a
love
lot to me.
that.
Humbly speaking, respect,
I
100%.
I love that answer. That's a great answer for sure. Um, what's new? What's next that you can share a little bit about for the listeners?
What's next? We really what's next? So right now we're looking to attack TikTok and Spotify.
Hey,
My next single, well, TikTok, Spotify, and Apple Music. Um, we've we've my EP is basically done by now. It's done.
all right.
But we're trying to figure out the single that's gonna be released before the EP, and then see what we could do. But the single's amazing, like it's really amazing. It's so much different than what I've released before. Like it doesn't have the same vibe. It doesn't have the same. Well, it has the same vibe, but it's a whole different song.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and so that's what we're looking to do right now. But I'm looking to release more videos. I'm looking to release
Yes.
more videos so people know who Spendit is. Like I want people to like, if I'm going to the club and I'm getting ready to perform, I want people to be like, "Oh, that's Spendit right there." So I want to release more videos so people know who I actually am,
Right.
and where I'm from. It's so hard. It's so hard to like get the stuff that I need for my video. But that's not gonna stop me. We gonna do what we gotta do to make sure the video come out fire. And yeah, and pretty much that's really the goal because we already started with the shows.
Nice.
When I had booked my schedule with you, it was an incident that happened in Connecticut. It was an
Oh,
incident that happened in Connecticut. This artist, he's from New York, and he was I forgot his name, but he was the headliner, and I was just before him. I believe I was just before him or somebody before me, and they didn't show. Well, however it went was the guy didn't want to he didn't want to perform at the time that was scheduled for him. He was like, man, I feel like I should be pushed up a little bit more. And so, the club is like, hey, we're gonna have to push everything back because our main act, he's not, nah, nah, nah. And I'm like, all right, cool. So instead of my show being from like 5 o'clock to like five, my interview with you was like 5:30, right?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So instead of me performing at like 4:45 and finishing at like 5:35 ish, now I was gonna perform at 5:30 because everything got pushed back.
Oh, I
And
see.
so yeah, and so it was like so as soon as like the time had came, I just got on stage and I just started performing. I started doing this and I just started doing that. And so like that's what had happened before, but like yeah, and so the shows are there now. I have another one in Syracuse that's
All
coming up.
right.
And so the drives are getting out of hand now.
No,
The
that's
drives are
good that
getting
you're
out of hand
busy.
now.
You're busy.
Yeah, but like man, you gotta get to it. You gotta get
Definitely.
to it.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. Also, where can people find you on social media to follow you and everything you got going on?
Oh, you could spend it official or just spend it official or spend it. Just I should be the only one that pops up. I should
I
be the
love
only one that
that.
pops up. Spend it
Love that.
official or just spend it itself. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming
no,
on.
thank you. Thank you. Like this is the twice. This is you caught me the third time, but this is the twice. Thank you for having me. I
Three times
appreciate
the
you so
charm.
much. I
Thank you.
appreciate you so much for taking the time out of your day.
Of
Thank you.
course. Of course. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.